I never imagined that silence could teach me more than words ever could. My name is Ethan, and I'm 36. For years, I had been desperately trying to reach my wife, Maya, hoping to connect, to understand, to rebuild the closeness we once had. But every attempt ended the same way: rejection, coldness, and an emptiness that grew heavier with time. It started subtly, with small gestures that went unnoticed. I would ask her about her day, try to hold her hand when we watched TV, or leave little notes around the house reminding her how much she meant to me. Each effort was met with indifference or a polite, but firm, "Not now." Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. I began to feel invisible in my own home, like a shadow moving through a space that had once been full of warmth. I tried counseling, I suggested trips, quiet dinners, and honest conversations, but she always refused. "I need space," she would say, or, "I'm not ready for that right now." The repeated rejection took a toll. I felt frustrated, hurt, and increasingly hopeless. I began to wonder if I was asking for too much, if my desire for connection was unreasonable. But deep down, I knew that love wasn't about giving up, it was about persistence, patience, and understanding. One evening, after another day of silence and unanswered questions, I sat alone on the couch, exhausted. The TV was on, but I wasn't watching. I realized that my efforts, though sincere, had become a source of tension rather than closeness. My need to connect was clashing with her need for distance, and neither of us was truly being heard. For the first time in years, I stopped. I stopped asking, stopped suggesting, stopped hoping for immediate response. Instead, I focused on myself, my hobbies, my work, my friendships. I gave myself permission to feel the pain, to acknowledge the loneliness, but not let it define every interaction with her. The change was subtle at first. Maya noticed I wasn't pushing, wasn't pleading, wasn't waiting anxiously for her approval or engagement. There was no grand confrontation, no dramatic declaration. I simply existed in the space beside her, calmer, more present, and less desperate. And then, something unexpected happened. Slowly, she began to speak. First, a comment about my day, then a question about a project I was working on. Each interaction was small, tentative, but different. She didn't realize it at the time, but by giving her space, I had removed the pressure that had made connection feel impossible. Over the next few weeks, the walls between us started to shift. Conversations became longer, laughter returned in small doses, and she began to share moments from her day again. The intimacy I had been longing for didn't come from constant pleading, it came from patience, understanding, and the decision to step back. I learned a lesson that no amount of persistence could have taught me in the old way. Connection cannot be forced. It cannot be demanded or extracted through repeated pleas. True closeness arises when both people feel safe, unpressured, and free to engage on their own terms. One evening, as we sat together on the porch watching the sunset, Maya reached out and took my hand. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I know I've been distant, and I didn't realize how much it affected you. Thank you for being patient in your own way." Her words weren't dramatic or overly emotional, but they carried weight I had been waiting years to hear. In that moment, I understood that sometimes the most powerful action is not pushing harder, it's letting go, trusting the process, and allowing space for healing to occur naturally. From that day on, our relationship didn't magically become perfect, but it became real again. I understood that love isn't about constant validation or relentless pursuit, it's about balance, respect, and recognizing when stepping back can actually bring two people closer. I had begged, I had pleaded, I had hoped. But it was only when I stopped that I truly started to connect, with her, with myself, and with the understanding that love sometimes requires patience, silence, and quiet faith that things will shift in their own time.